Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and this past week we've got a lot of information for Spiritforged, the second set of the Riftbound card game, including a lot of reveals at PAX this weekend too, which I'm excited to go over. But this looks like a really interesting set. There seems like a lot of new mechanics added to it, and I'm really excited to kind of go over it with you guys. So if you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. We make a lot of content for the Riftbound card game, and I don't want you guys to miss it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Spiritforged looks into, as we're going to get continued releases of like new cards in the next couple weeks, because I know they're doing a lot of like content creator pair ups, which is really cool. So real quick, a quick overview of some new mechanics as I know them. These are probably going to change a little bit. I'll probably have a pinned comment as well if there's any mistakes that you guys have found out for this one, because these are new mechanics and the wording can be a little bit confusing. But the main thing about this set is gear, and two gear in particular are one, the easy one is the gold gear. This is kind of a token gear thing that you just say kill this and tap it on reaction to add 1 power of anything. So that's really helpful to help pay for costs, especially in this set. As you're going to notice, there's going to be a lot of different essential might costs for a lot of the other equipment that we have, so that's really good. You pretty much just build this from units such as like the Plundering Poro, easy example. When I conquer, you get to play a gold gear token exhausted. Every kind of instance I've seen that is that gold comes exhausted, so you can't immediately use it, which is fine. But I also like the theming mechanic for this too, because you get this gold, and then kind of the way that you use it is you use it to help you kind of buy this equipment as well, if you want to think of it that way. So one just easy example is long sword. So this just has it is an equipment, as it is also a gear though, so you do play the 2 to play it. It also has quick draw, so this has reaction when you play it. Attach it to a unit you control, so being able to get that additional +2 is really strong. And then also, if you need to, you can equip it for just 1 red if you need to too, and then it kind of puts it underneath a unit, and you're able to get that +2 might to that unit there. So a couple quick other notices, and this is for how I know it right now. This could be changed or I could be wrong for it, but as far as I know, one, when a unit dies with gear, the gear comes back to your base, so you can equip it again later in the turn. Also, a unit can have as much gear or equipment attached to it as much as it can, so you're not just limited to just one thing. You can keep adding to it, and you can get that additional benefit for it. So one last kind of mechanic for this is kind of Weapon Master, which you can see off this Lucian. Weapon Master, when you play me, you can equip one of your equipment for 1 less, even if it's already attached. So being able to kind of like either like borrow or steal or whatever, being able to like get this additional like reduction for this is really nice. So that's kind of like the main mechanics for this one, being able to have this gear. This is also gear too, so the equipment is gear, so if there's any like gear removal stuff, what we saw a good amount in set 1, that does affect these too, because these come back to your base after they the unit they're equipped to dies. So that's something that's important for this, right? I think a lot of other card games I would play, that if you have a unit with equipment and it dies, it would just usually go back to the trash or something. So this game being able to kind of help you say this is a worth cost for it, makes it really handy. So again, there is just like a lot of like -1 on your runes to use a lot of these, right? Because they are this equipment cost. There's not a way to do it otherwise, unless you have again like Weapon Master or something, but it's kind of like a cool little mechanic for how this works, right? A lot of these have additional effects as well. For example, like the Trinity Force, when I hold, you get to score 1 additional point, so that can be very strong, especially since this isn't like Master Yi colors, and you can use this and like decks like Master Yi, when you want to be able to kind of put all your focus onto 1 unit, these kind of weapons can help you additionally get that additional bonus for it. So that's kind of like the main things for like the overarching theme for a lot of this set, is this kind of this equipment that you can attach to your units to buff them up, but also get these additional effects. Again, they can be a little bit expensive, but I think that also makes sense for how you use these gold mechanics, right? You use this mechanic to get gold, and these can help you pay the cost for your weapons, which again, I think theming wise is really cool. So other than that, we're just kind of gonna focus on the new legends. They were all revealed at PAX this past week once again, and there are 12, I believe. Yeah, there are 12 in this, and we're just gonna go one by one through them real quick and just kind of go over my original thoughts. So we've got Mechanized Menace. So this is Rumble. Your mechs have shield, so +1 when the defenders, and then also there is like this whole mechanics for mechs, right? There hasn't really been a trait that really matters as much in this game so far, so I think that is something important for this one. We do also have some signature cards revealed, so we do have it for Rumble right now. So on reaction, you can play this at any time, and then you have this new mechanic too as well, called repeat 1. So you may pay the additional cost to repeat the spell's effect, so you have to pay 1 and react for it. So you give your max +1 this turn, and then you can do it a second time. So you can give all your mechs X +2 for essentially paying 2 runes and recycling 2 runes. So not too terrible for a 1-for-1 for there, and being a reaction for 1 is really handy. So that's there. We do definitely, I don't think we have any like units that are mechs inherently that we found from this one. No. So we have to, it really depends on what the mechs kind of look like, but it's going to be interesting to see a deck that's kind of built again on these traits. We haven't really had anything that really cares about the traits of our cards yet, so this will be kind of the first one of that. We do also have Lucian here, so your equipment gives me assault 1, or sorry, each give assault 1, so being able to get like additional attack boost is really nice for it. We do also have the champion for Lucian here. So we looked at it again, but being able to equip weapons to him very easily. I mean, it makes sense, right? He wields weapons in the game, right? But being able to say this, when the first time I conquer, you get to ready me. So kind of the idea for him is that you equip weapons, you attack with it, and then you retreat with them, so you can conquer again later for it. We also do know the signature spell for him as well, Relentless Pursuit. So move a friendly unit, you may attach an equipment with the same controller to it. This turn, this unit has when I conquer, you may move me to your base. So what you can do is that you can conquer, and then you can move it back to the base afterwards, and then with your champion, since you did conquer, you get to ready it, so you can essentially use it to conquer both battlefields, right? The fact that you're going to have at least 1 weapon on it, likely, as long as you have the you set it up for it. This can be really nasty, being able to this can easily get both battlefields with just kind of a 2-card combo, which is really nice. And assumedly this could be one of your champion units. We haven't seen the other one that Lucian can be, but this one doesn't seem bad for kind of that kind of mechanic for it. So really interesting. I'm already playing a lot of the body kind of decks as well, so this kind of mechanic where you can kind of aggressively move with it is one of my favorite things in this game, because you can just really, it's hard to interact with being able to contest both bodies on both boards each turn. So really interesting, and I think I'm going to enjoy what this is going to look like. So next up we've got Draven, and Draven is actually one of my favorite legends in League of Legends in general, right? I don't play a lot of the source material, but when I did definitely try to play Draven, so I do kind of know how he works in the game. And so he's got this kind of really interesting mechanic, right? One, like, he gets more powerful, you're supposed to get like more hype, some more gold with it. You have these blades that you're supposed to hit with, and you're trying to catch them to get some additional effects for it. So and I think that works really well for how they're trying to make Spiritforged look. So we've got this: when you can win a combat, you get to draw 1, and you only win if your units remain after combat. So pretty self-explanatory, but just kind of that understanding for it. So we have seen Draven legends before, right? We do have one in set 1 already, where this is a let me just find it real quick. So whenever right, no, that's Darius. There he is. Your might is increased by your points, so like you already have this unit where being able to increase your points is helpful, but I'm not sure if this is actually going to be used in this deck, because we do also have our Draven here. So when I win a combat, you can play a gold gear token exhausted, and when I attack or defend, you may pay an additional red. If you do, give me +2 for this turn. So being able to like aggressively use this, is also like the fact that you can get gold to then you can use it later to get the +2 is really handy. So you get all these kind of effects to keep him around. But we also do have our signature stuff that we have for him as well. So we do have the spinning axe. So it has quick draw. This has reaction when you play it attached to a unit you control. You can equip it for 1, and temporary if this is unattached, kill the start of this controller beginning phase before scoring. So I really do like the idea of this card, because like it's like the source material where you have to keep catching these axes, and if you don't catch it, then you kind of lose it for a little bit. So like they've put that into the game, which I think is really cool. This is like one of the few like lore reasons I know for why this kind of is the way this works. But again, being able to say +3 for 2 is fantastic. If you need to change it around, you can. And then it's like a really interesting card. So if Draven's good, I think like this boost is important for this deck. It's very easy to get there, and I think that's interesting. That's what they chose for this one. So having like we've seen signature spells, right, but now to see signature gear is really cool. So I think it's a cool deck. I definitely want to try it out as well, and we'll see if we'll see what that kind of looks like for it. So anyways, we've got Void Borer Rek'Sai. So when you conquest, you may exhaust me to reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play one of them, then recycle the rest. As far as I know, you do have to pay the cost for the card that you play, so you don't get to just just, play this, oh, I got a big 9 cost off the top, I guess I get to play it. No, you still have to pay the cost for it, but being able to essentially kind of draw is really nice. Yellow does have some stuff for vision too, so there's stuff like Karma that I've played in other decks right now that can help you look at the top card of your deck, and it's going to be interesting to see what this does, right? So there are ways to like draw with it. The other kind of card that we've seen for it is we do have the signature for him as well. So it's Void Rush. If you have the top 2 cards of your deck, you may play one of them, reducing its cost by 2, and then you get to draw any cards you did not play this way. So honestly, like turn 1, if you got nothing better to do, sometimes it's just like, you know what, I can just draw 2 and get rid of it. I do think that this is a deck that's going to need a little bit of like cost reduction for the units. It's going to be interesting if they play like a lot of like you can go either way, right? You do just like a lot of ramp, and so like you immediately play your big drops and you can keep playing big drops off the top of your deck, or you go like really low to the ground and where you're just being able to play a bunch of like 1 drops and 2 drops for free, for cheap every turn, and it's not going to impact your hand size because of how it works. So one thing that I haven't really seen from this game yet is that a mechanic to put a card from your hand to the top of your deck. And I don't think that's been revealed for anything that we've seen so far, but I think that would be like the next way to kind of help some of these like top deck kind of mechanics for games like this one, because like if you could put one to the top and then Void Borer, you use the effect to get rid of something and you play it off the top, it'd be really nice. But it's going to be interesting. Like red and yellow has been like an interesting color combination too, since we had it with Darius in set 1, and people are starting to try to make that deck kind of work with Baited Hook, which also Baited Hook kind of works with this deck too. So it's going to be interesting again to see what it looks like. I think we kind of need to see some more cards for it, but there is like a lot of chance for a lot of values and combos with this legend, which is really cool. So there it is. All right, next we got Fire Below the Mountain Ornn here. So for one, just reaction, you get to add 1 might of anything, and then you can use use only to play gear or use gear abilities. So this is fantastic. If gear, like, okay, maybe that's over saying. If gear is good, this card is amazing, right? Gear just has like this, effect every turn where you need to be able to spend this extra might to pay for your cost, and this being able to say every turn you don't care about the equip cost of one of your gear or anything else is fantastic. So even like, for example, if we just look at the gear that we have already for we have like something, let's say like I'm looking for something with maybe like cost. So maybe Svelsonger here. So we have to like pay 1 to just play it on the board, so we can like use that to reduce the cost of it, and then like on the next turn when we want to equip it, we have to just like spend 1 less of a calm might for it. So that can be pretty good, right? Or even just like sincerely, like say I'm going to play Trinity Force, and then I can immediately equip it for this. I don't think that's within the colors for this one, so it'd have to be something like Dorn Shield or something. But the thought kind of remains, right? The idea that you can just say, you know what, I get to, if you plan on equipping 4 different equipment throughout a game plus, right, this has 4 extra runes of equipment that you get to use. So this deck gets to ramp every turn essentially that you play equipment, if you want to think of it that way. So if gear is fantastic, I think this is going to be a very good card. I haven't really talked about it, but one of the equipment that looks fantastic for this one is the Guardian Angel. So just equip, it's kind of like specifically a Zonya's Hourglass that you get to put on a unit specifically, instead of like Zonya's you have to kind of play the game where you have to make sure that it dies at the right time so it gets revived at the right time. This one is just like I get a +1 and then I get to just revive it later for no real cost, right? I feel like this card is going to be a little obnoxious to deal with because it is very strong at keeping our stuff around. Like it's a buff that also like gives us like that additional effect. So I think that can be very very strong. So other than that, it is going to depend on like how good gear is. But if gear is like even like moderately good, this is going to be, I think, a very viable legend. So there it is. All right, next up we've got Jax, Grandmaster at Arms here. So it has like a very easy to understand kind of effect. So for 1 in tapping, you can attach a detach equipment you control to your unit, so you don't have to lose a rune. You just get to pay a rune, and then otherwise you can just tap it to attach equipment you control to a unit you control. So then you can also just move the equipment around kind of thing. So same kind of thing, right? You can essentially get by the effects that, you don't lose runes for attaching equipment. You instead get to get these additional abilities to move it around, right? And if something's already attached, you can just move it back to something else, which is really cool. And you can be, again, very, very viable and flexible for that one. So just looking at gear, though, we kind of talked about Guardian Angel being able to move this around if you need to. So for example, you have it on one unit, and then like afterwards you're like, well, after this I have a bigger unit that I want to protect. I can just like move it over to the next thing, which is really cool. So there's also like Trinity Force, for example. You can like conquer something, or the fact that you can like move it over to something that's now holding a battlefield is really nice. The +2, all that is just really, really good for these kind of things. So I think it's going to be interesting again to see how if gear is good. Sometimes I find in card games where like you get these bonuses, but like the cost to play them and like the tempo to play them is a little bit slow. But I haven't really seen it from this game, right? It is like a bit of a thing where you have to sink the cost into the gear first, but the fact that it kind of stays on board for a while afterwards, it doesn't just equip to one thing and then it dies when it dies, I think kind of gets around the kind of the value you lose from it. So I think that's cool. All right, next up we got Aurelia here. So when you choose a friendly unit, you may exhaust me and pay 1 to ready it, and then when you conquer, you can pay 1 to ready me, or exhaust 1 to ready it. And when you conquer, you pay 1 to ready me. So you can this being able to just kind of get like the idea of like dashing around, right? Being able to like keep your cards active, right? These are also the same runes as Yasuo, right? Which is also kind of like very movement based legend as well. So Aurelia being able to get those mechanics as well is nice. We do have a couple cards revealed for her as well, including both of our champions and her signature spells. So we have first the first Aurelia here. Your spells that choose me cost 1 are 1 might less, so being able to get the cheapness for it. Gears are not spells, so you can't like equip weapons to her easier, but there are some spells, for example, our Defiant Dance. This is our signature spell. On reaction, you can give a unit +2 this turn and give another unit -2 this turn. So for one, getting a +4 difference is crazy. And then also it can be for free, right? Essentially, you can just say, oh, well, it's going to choose me, so I don't have to tap a rune for it. So I can be tapped out. I just have to recycle 1 rune and I can get this effect because it is a spell that targets me. That's how I'm reading it. If that's wrong, I'll post an update for it. But that's pretty good. This becomes a 6 and then something else becomes a -2. So even when you're tapped out, this kind of combo can be very strong. And then we also do have the other Aurelia. So this is the epic one, Deflect. And then also when you choose me or ready me, give me +1 might this turn, which is not once per turn. So if you keep choosing it, you keep giving it the +1, which then, you can choose this and you can ready it. I don't know if you play this the turn you do, if this gets a +2, because it does choose and ready it in the same action. So I'm not sure immediately if this will become a 5 or a 6 might if you play it on the Aurelia, but then that regardless of what it is very strong for it. So just being able to say, I'm going to have a 6 might thing that can attack the turn it's played is great. Even if it's a 5 might, that's still great for what you're doing for it. And then obviously like Defiant Dance working for it is nice too. So we'll see what this kind of looks like, but it looks like an aggressive movement deck, which is cool. And again, I've seen a lot of people kind of start to figure out how Yasuo works as it is. So being able to see like a different, a more aggressive way to use it or a different way to play the same rune combination is really cool. So we've got 5 more left. We've got the Azir here, Emperor of the Sand. So your sand soldiers have weapon masters. So again, being able to equip the weapons there is nice. And then also for 1 in tapping, you can play 2 sand soldier unit tokens to your base. You can only use this if you've played an equipment this turn. So being able to help your one, you play out you play out a weapon and then you play out the tokens and then you get the weapon master for it. Works out really good. Again, real quick, just to confirm, and it's for you guys, but also for myself, weapon master. When you play me, you may equip one of your equipment for 1 less, even if for 1 less power, even if it's already attached. So what the kind of combo you get to do with it is that like you get to play out a weapon and then you play this here and then you equip it to the sand soldier essentially. So I don't think we've seen what the tokens look like for this yet. So no, we don't look like. I'm going to, if I remember correctly, and you guys can call me out for it too, the sand soldiers, I wouldn't be surprised if it was kind of like a sprite where it's something that had temporary, but then you're able to like equip a weapon for it and like be aggressive with it. So but if it's it's something that's played to your base, it probably exhausted. So I don't know. We'll kind of see what this looks like. Again, I don't think we've seen it quite yet. If you guys know what it looks like, let me know. But being able to say, I get to play a weapon and then immediately play a unit that can equip the weapon is not too terrible. I think that kind of synergy is really there. So it's going to be interesting. All right, next up we have Ezreal here. So we've got the reaction for tapping it. You just get to draw one, and you can only use this if you choose an enemy units and or gear twice this turn with spells or abilities. So being able to and I think like the wording's like a little confusing, but it has to choose two of your enemy stuff. So it's not choosing enemy units and or gear. I think it's like enemy units and or enemy gear is what I'm reading this as. That can be wrong, but that's my understanding for it. And so you get this draw one. So I'll be honest, this is going to be either like very, very good immediately or very, very tough to attain, right? Like most of the time, like we're not seeing that many spells right now that are targeting units on your enemy side that you play more than once per turn. Like you could like do like double stupefy and then you get to, technically draw three, right? Because stupefy is draw one, but like that's a 3 of in the deck, right? To see both of them. We'll probably have to see like a little bit more spells that exist, but I have been seeing a lot more like react low cost spells that have been existing already from what they revealed for it. So this doesn't have to be so insane for it, and but it's definitely a deck where it makes me think like, all right, this is how I want to build it, right? I have this leader that has a very simple effect of like target two things, draw one. What's the best way to get that advantage and be able to use it, correctly as well? So we'll kind of see what that looks like. I don't think we've seen really anything that would immediately cause me to say because I don't think we've seen any spells that we can use with him yet for it. So we'll have to see what that looks like. But it's a cool like open-ended effect, and we'll have to see what cards you get for it. So all right, next up we've got the Renata Glask. I'm probably saying that incorrectly, my apologies. But when you are an ally hold, you may exhaust me to play a gear token exhausted, and while your score is within 3 points of the victory score, your gold add an additional 1. So the way like this kind of has a mechanic where you're like, all right, I want to be able to not only get gold, but if I do get gold, being able to get this additional effect is good. The only issue is that like it feels like it's a little bit slow because it is something where you play you have to hold, and then the next turn you get the gold, and then the turn after that you get to use the gold. You know what I mean? So that does seem like a little bit clunky at times, but the fact that your gold is now giving a 1 and recycling 1 is fantastic, right? That being able to just essentially you get to ramp runes with your gold essentially, even if it is a little bit slow. So I don't think we've seen that much else from this card in general for what we can use for it, right? The fact that we can like it's any gold though. So for example, if we do get a gold from the Plundering Poro, this will give us we can get the +1 from that as well. So that is helpful, but we'll have to kind of see the rest of what this deck looks like. But it is cool to see. I do like the gold mechanics. To have a legend like so deep into it, I think is interesting. So there it is. We've got two more. We've got Severe here. So we do have when you recycle a rune, you may exhaust me to play a gold gear exhausted, and then when one or more units die, you get to ready me. So which you can exhaust. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm just making sure. So you can just kind of do this thing where you get to just keep every time that you would lose something like a rune because of like a might cost, you get to get the gold for it. So it means like you kind of get all this like kind of temporary ramp back. You're not affected as much as by like the weapons cost because you do get this gold for it too, which is cool. Well, I don't think we've seen anything from Severe either from it. Any cards revealed for this one? Let me see. Yeah, I don't think we've seen the champion or really anything. Yeah, the one thing is this is a whole card that I know a lot of people have been discussing, right? The fact you can play anything on reaction speed with 3 less cost is pretty good in this game, but which is something that this card can use, but I don't think that's specifically to Severe here. So well, I don't know, like this one's a little bit harder to read just because we don't have as much information for it. But like the fact that again, like same thing, like this is like a really good deck when it comes to just getting more and more gold, being able to kind of offset the cost of like the extra might cost that a lot of gear is going to require going into the set. So being able to mitigate that is, I don't think that too bad. And then this can be like more than once per turn as long as you have like the units to keep getting that additional like restand for it. So that can be good. So there it is. And then lastly, we've got the Grand Duelist. We've got the Fiora here. So we also already have a Fiora unit champion in the game. So it's a 4 might unit that when it becomes mighty, you get to get some additional effects. And when one of your units becomes mighty, you can exhaust me to channel 1 rune exhausted. So this can be great for also just your weapons as well, right? So I like making sure there any, I don't think we've seen really anything from yeah. So but what we can do is that, like, if we equip weapons, it does also count for getting cards into mighty, which is really nice. So there are some chances. I've also seen some people talk about some some fun things where you can do something where you can buff a unit and then you lose the buff and then you rebuff it, and then you can just channel a lot of runes to get a lot of additional buffs, and like you can ramp with this kind of easily, right? Especially in body, where this is the Dazzling Aurora deck, right? There could be some chances for it. I don't think you definitely you need to be able to have like your units in your deck, right? So if there has to be something with like Fiora where you can get that, but being able to ramp is really nice, because essentially this does again mitigate the cost for your stuff, right? So for example, let's say we play Lucian and then we play this is only because it's right here, so then Lucian, and then we equip Doran's Blade, and then so we have to lose one of our body runes, and then like this becomes a 3 to a 5, which then means that we get to channel a rune exhausted, right? So that's kind of nice, right? Being able to use these abilities to finding ways to get around the additional cost of gear with your legend seems to be a really good kind of overarching theme for a good amount of these, just so they have synergies with kind of this new mechanic that exists for this one. So in general, I think this is a really cool looking set. I've been really interested to seeing just how the cards work, right? We're going to get a lot of, I think, daily reveals for the next couple weeks, so it's going to be cool to see the new cards as they release for them. But being able to kind of build up these decks are cool. The theming for it, the way you deck build is really clear for me as well, which is great. And why you would choose these, and then again, a lot of people have their fan favorite characters that are entering the game now, and now they have a way to use them in a new way, which is cool. So that's going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this set as we get into it. Again, this is kind of a lot of like information as we get it. If there's anything wrong, please let me know. I'd love to get this video as accurate as we can, and I don't want anyone to be kind of confused with some of the new mechanics as we get them. So let me know if there's anything else. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.